So grateful to be here and very happy to discuss these incredibly important and hard to talk about topics. He has an incredible backbone and staggering moral fiber. Howie is totally committed, completely ethical, totally admirable. No pressure if you can hear this, but honestly, Howie's a hero to me.
John, you joined us before, and it was a pretty incredible kind of testimony you gave, and you just devoted your life to advocacy for child trafficking, and even 9/11 truth. Maybe you could explain to us, in the last decade, what do you think the most challenging parts of coming alive on some of these issues have been?
Probably the hardest thing, and it continues, is just realizing that pretty much everything that I was told and taught since I was in grade school is probably not true. And good evening. It's 12:01 in the moonlit Appalachian Mountains of Southwest Virginia, and also in the city of brotherly love. How are you, Howie?
I'm doing well. I like that one. You just surprise me every day with the intro.
I try. I like I try. I said, what can I do tonight? and it's while we're here, it's.
Wait a second. Do you practice those, or do you practice those?
I thought it while we were talking. I said, well, we'll do the mountains in the city of brotherly love. What the hell?
All right.
Why not? And it is. It's a beautiful moonlit night here, and I'm sure you can see the same moon that I'm looking at. And it's good to be alive. And it's what I'm going to have to start doing is saying that it's 8:59 or it's 9:01 on the beautiful west coast of California, because we're getting some west coast viewers, and I just want to shout out to them. The Pamela Olson, for one, she's has an organization called Save Our Children California. It's at Save Our Children. You can see it on our we tweeted that out today, and she wrote a really nice comment on our show last week. And there's several other people that are following our page. Anita Hopkins is one, and Cherie Hoffmeyer, and also Rosie. Rosie is one of our big fans on Facebook, and she really does a lot. She sends us a lot of good stuff. So hello to all those people, and thank you. We couldn't do this without you. And even Missy, she's out on the West Coast, and she's driving home, trying to get home to see the show. So that was
well. That's all you. I mean, I've been neglecting the Facebook end of my social media, but I have to start. I have to start pushing that a little bit more and recognizing people in there. Facebook's it's difficult for me. When I got on the social media, Twitter was the first thing I ever did, and it was just so simple to me. So when you go on Facebook, there's a lot more going on, and I'm old, so it's a little bit confusing. So
You're old.
Yeah,
well, it's a little hard while you're moving around the country like you do.
Well, not moving around the country per se, but I'm moving around, starting to move a little bit again. I was moving this week. Got downtown Philadelphia. I got up to Brooklyn yesterday. Well,
you got to see the essentially the presidential and the ex-presidential and ex-vice presidential Secret Service details, both of them in different cities. So I'd say that's getting around.
Well, no, I mean, I don't believe that. On Tuesday I tried to go see Joe Biden, and I I did my best, but I sort of botched it. And, I didn't get to confront him, but I will. Oh, if you're listening, which I know you are, I'll see you soon.
Joe, if you're listening, if you're listening, Joe, stop pawing the kids. Okay,
yeah,
stop it.
I don't. I believe he's incapable of stopping that.
You're right. Right.
But he,
yeah.
For anyone that wasn't listening on Tuesday, I was expecting Joe Biden at the University of Pennsylvania to be rolling up in black SUVs, normal Secret Service. But apparently he was on the University of Pennsylvania campus and just kind of walked across campus. So I missed him going in the back door. And when I waited for his speech to end, I was standing at the back door, and they must have brought him out through the front door. So they got me. But a completely different situation in Brooklyn last night with Hillary's book signing. There was definitely plenty of Secret Service, maybe up to 20 Secret Service protecting her. So you have a former vice president with basically nothing, and then a former Secretary of State with 20 Secret Service. And there was actually more Secret Service when she was in Manhattan doing her book signing.
Yeah. Well, they've got their hands full with her. She's half drunk all the time, from what I understand. But God, what to go and serve your country and join the Secret Service, and then get stuck guarding those two. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. So it was last night was a real good event. I was able to meet Laura Loomer, Red Pill Ken. He was there when I showed up. And also, I apologize because I don't know the gentleman's name, but the gentleman who was cut with a bottle inside the bar after people were stomping on his MAGA hat, and he was there. So a few more people. Kathy McCallie came up and met me, and a friend of mine who I met at the Manhattan book signing, she was there. So we had about 6-7 people outside demonstrating. And a lot of people came up and talked to us, and it was a pretty good event. Glad I went up.
I understand. Cousin Anthony's ex. Is the divorce final? I think it is.
Are they actually getting divorced?
Yeah, it was filed. I'm just not sure if it's final. I imagine it probably is, knowing how bad they wanted to sever that appendage off of Hillary Clinton. But yeah, good old Uma was there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She thought. Yeah. She goes. Apparently, she's going around book signing. And there's quite a few employees. They have. There's heavy security. You're not allowed to bring bags. I don't know if you weren't allowed to bring bags in, or I think they were people were leaving their bags outside, and then after they got their book signed, they came back out and got their bags. So they have employees doing that. I mean, it was they have a little operation going. I was asking. I asked the women who were doing that how you apply for a job, but they didn't answer me. One guy standing in line, he offered me to go in. He said he had an extra ticket, and he said, "Here, I'll give you the extra ticket. You go in, you get the book. All you got to do is bring me the signed book. Your ticket's all yours." But I don't think they were going to let me in.
Yeah,
so
we're going to talk about that whole crew because they're all related.
Yeah. But Huma did come outside. I missed that part. Laura Loomer has it on her Periscope. Huma came outside, and Laura confronted her, asking her about Anthony Weiner. Obviously, she didn't answer, But if you check out Laura Loomer's Periscope from the Hillary book signing last night, you can see Huma being confronted about Anthony Weiner. And we confronted the crowd about Anthony Weiner. One woman was giving us 2 middle fingers when we were asking about Anthony Weiner, if Anthony Weiner was inside, or they have a. I mean, literally.
2 middle fingers.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you look on Laura Loomer's Periscope, and I was standing next to her, and we just brought up Anthony Weiner, and the woman stood there and gave us 2 middle fingers, and I said, well, I don't know what that means, hon. Like, we're talking about a conviction. We're talking about now.
It's your fault that he's a pedophile and he was married to Uma and the with an attachment to Hillary and Bill Clinton, who flew regularly on pedophile Epstein's jets. So,
sure.
Fuck you, Howie. How dare you?
How dare exactly? How dare us bring up Anthony Weiner?
And that's I want to talk about some of that stuff tonight. And the number one question I'd want to ask Huma is Saudi Arabian intelligence, does she still get money from them? Because that her and her family are basically Saudi agents that have been making sure, keeping an eye on Hillary and Bill, to make sure that they the foundation and all the other corruption they're involved in, or should she have become president for, oh my God. Well, that didn't happen, but that would have been basically a Saudi agent, by her side in the White House. So
absolutely.
That's what I'd love to talk to Uma about, the Saudi Arabian intelligence.
I'm gonna tweet this out right now. It's one of my favorite memes. It's a picture of Hillary in this blue suit, and she's in between 2 Saudi-looking dudes. And the caption on the meme is, "We are going to need a refund." And the way the picture's set up, it's just absolutely brilliant. So I'm gonna do that right now.
Sure. And while you're doing that, just a little break in the action, because V got this out to us. I think it was during the show on Tuesday. And did you see where Biden's wife has taken over the Children's Foundation?
Oh yeah. That was months ago. Absolutely. What is I can't remember everything. What do you remember? What that foundation was?
Yeah, I've got it right here. I just had it, and it just
completely absurd. I mean, it's just that is the
thick, because I didn't know that,
Oh,
And you're right. You're right. Save the children, and it's not it's not to save our children, who is actually an organization that does something for children. That
right.
That
I don't know why I'm laughing. I just
sometimes runs. But yeah, it's kind of like Laura Silsby, going after Haitian kids to traffic in Haiti. So how that just I saw that, and I just I was sick. So yeah, but
yeah, I used to tweet. When I tweeted out videos, I used to tweet when I used to tweet out the Joe Biden clips. I tweeted it to Jill Biden's personal account. I tweeted it to her hashtag. I tweeted it to the Beau Biden Foundation. I tweeted wherever I could, and I never got too much of a response. So I think, that was, I believe, part of the shadow banning. But it's just, this guy, literally, we talked about it on Tuesday, but if people have not seen these video clips of Joe Biden groping children on C-SPAN, senators, whether they're the senator's children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, why a niece and nephew would even be at a Senate ceremonial swearing in is beyond me. Shh. Sorry, my dog was. Why
Don't
they would
at him like I do.
No, I won't. I don't know what she's up. She must have heard something. But and then have for for Joe Biden not to be aware of this, come on, it's absurd. It's absurd, and anyone that's seen the videos would find the same thing.
Yeah. And old Uma has a Pakistani connection, and we know with they're all part in Anthony and his Blackberries. He was the one that was supplying the Awan brothers and Hillary's staff with the Blackberries that Awan was hacking, to basically compromise the whole the House and Senate of our government. So that's pretty interesting.
So I mean, I'm looking. They got married. In 2010. So she was 36. I'm not sure how old he is. I don't know if he got married because, it would further his, political career. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Obviously.
You think?
Sure. I want
to know, and I want to get some more information that I don't have, but exactly what he did with Schumer, because Schumer is a huge scumbag. We all know.
Yeah.
But that was his mentor, and if he wasn't screwed up before he got with Schumer, he worked in '85. He worked in his office in D.C. for 3 years, then went to his district office in Brooklyn, 1988. Then Schumer encouraged him to become involved in local politics. So that probably was right around the time he started to go really bad.
Yeah. I'm looking at pictures of Anthony Weiner right now, and this guy, how people can be fooled. I don't know if they are fooled into voting for a person like this, or he's just the type of person that they like because they're of the same ilk. I have no idea. But Anthony Weiner, the dude he's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. There was a video. I don't know if you've ever seen it, when he was after he resigned from the House of Representatives for his first. I think, didn't he resign because he got caught the first time, John?
Yes.
Okay. So he resigned.
Yes.
And then he decides that he's going to run for the mayor of New York.
Yes.
Right.
That's
now.
I guess you haven't seen the documentary Wiener, huh?
No, I haven't seen the documentary. I can't stomach this guy. I absolutely can't stomach this guy.
Me either. But there's some value in there because it shows them just coming apart when all that shit starts to come out during the mayoral election, and Uma, sounding so shocked when this guy was in on it with her, in on it with Hillary. I mean, what's so shocking? His computer is full of documentation on scummy, pedophiles. So why was Uma so shocked? Was it he was freelancing?
He wasn't shocked. He wasn't shocked at all. Did you see the first press conference where he had to apologize?
Yes.
She stood behind him, man, and she looked like, it's just absolutely hysterical.
It was
absolutely.
And look at who the mentors for these people are. Hers is Hillary Clinton, who was standing behind, scumbag pedophile Bill, and when he was in the White House, just doing the same stuff and probably worse, with he got the one he got busted on just happened to be of legal age, but that's no. I bet you the ones on that plane down to Epstein Island weren't of legal age,
Well, he only flew on the plane 26 times, John. It's only 26 times.
Well, maybe, and maybe there's a lot of voters down on that island. I don't know. I didn't think it was that big, but And I told you that I was his official fire department paramedic when he came to Stuart, Florida.
Really?
Yeah. We were in the motorcade, and we got cleared by the Secret Service, and we had the little Secret Service guy with his radio, and they almost broke his damn neck. It was a shame on the limo. The limo turned right. He didn't have a lot of good luck in Florida because the limo turned onto this road in Sewell's Point, and there's a huge curb there, and if you cut it too sharp, people that live there know that. But they hit this curb, and you just heard the radio. Well, we saw the car. We're like, holy shit! And Clinton's head went into the roof, apparently. And so the radio's crackling, and they don't know if he's okay, and we're like, and I guess he was okay because we continued on, and he went to another scumbag, Willie Gary. He's like a personal injury ambulance chaser attorney down in Stewart that's a Democratic Party operative. So we went to his house, and you go in the house, and we got to, because in case he keeled over or whatever. But the first thing you see is like this monster, bigger, probably 2 times life-size painting of Willie Gary right in like the lobby of the house, and it's like, oh my God. And we were talking about it, the personality types, narcissists, it was like, Jesus. But at any rate, that all went, but what was amazing was the amount of personnel and the cost that must have been involved in flying into that little airport in Stewart, and with all they had the SWAT team and all that, just for payback, and then Clinton came back, and it was out of our city limits, but it was in Martin County. It was the county that I worked in, and another guy I know was his medic down there, and they had to take him. I think he blew his knee out or broke something. The story was they were drunk and he fell down the stairs at Greg Norman's house in Jupiter Island. So Bill didn't have a lot of luck in Florida, so.
Greg Norman, the golfer?
Yes. Yeah. Jupiter Island. It's like that's where Bush lives. I'll be damned, George Bush,
Mm-hmm.
they're all, it's all one family. Come on. I hope people are doing their homework, because these. I think they can trace the bloodlines of all of these people, back to the city of London. That's they're picked, they're groomed, and then we think that we elect them. It's just ridiculous. But that's that. Wow, we digress there, but that it's weird.
They're all part of the same. They're just all the same. Like, they're all the same person. And the word that just keeps coming up, the term is, to me, we debated it when Missy was on the show, psychopath versus sociopath. These people are sociopaths. They know right from wrong, and they choose wrong, and they just don't care. They love it. It's part of their DNA. I just tweeted out my personal, my I'll call it the best of Anthony Weiner. There's 3 videos I just tweeted to the Traffic report. The first one, so Anthony has to resign from the House of Representatives, but he decides that people will forget his first transgressions of sexting, and he's going to run for the mayor of New York. And he shows up at probably a kosher bakery somewhere. Somewhere in New York.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that
one. And the man confronts him.
Yeah, scumbag. Yeah.
Yes, and Anthony's reaction to this guy is just. He has the right to confront him. Whether it's right or wrong, but his reaction is man, that it's straight sociopath, and it's basically like, how dare you judge me? How dare you confront me? I'm running for, do you know who I am? You don't come up to me. it's like you put yourself out there as, running for the mayor of New York. You have to expect criticism, and his reaction.
It's another component of the personality. They're megalomaniac, narcissist. Sure.
Right.
And yeah, how dare you?
Right.
I want to see. I'm looking at the saga of his scandals. So on May 27th, it was actually with an adult woman. That's when he posted the image, and I guess she leaked it. So he denies it, and then he has a press conference.
Well, John, don't just say denies it. He denied it. I mean, he came up with a litany of stories that his whatever account was hacked.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going insane. It's like, it was hacked. It's not me.
Yeah. So
that's more than a lie.
And it goes, because now he knows that it's out in the open. It goes from 1 woman to 6 women over the last 3
right.
weeks. So, but he apologized for his earlier denials.
Well, I tweeted out the video of him and with whom at his side. And I mean, if you tell me, does that look like a married couple to you? Does that look like a couple that's in love, or is that a straight up business arrangement, political arrangement, whatever you want to call it?
Look at Hillary and Bill.
The state, yeah.
I mean, and a lot of these creep couples, the women are lesbian, and the guys are either homosexual in the closet or pedophile sex offenders that are offending with women. I mean, all there's so many. I mean, and you can go back and you can go through the litany of so many of them that are just there are no real marriages in that group. It's just all convenient. They're all psychopaths, sociopaths, whatever you want to call them. And it's who can be effective to advance their careers. It's got nothing to do with what normal people get married for. I don't even think they can feel any of that. They definitely don't feel empathy or anything like that.
You're right. But that's part of the sociopath mentality, and unfortunately, these are the people. I mean, honestly, to get into politics in the first place, I mean, a lot of people have to have some of that. I mean, there are some obviously do-gooders, perhaps, but to say that, to say that you're the best person to represent. That's an amazing responsibility to make.
That's been pretty much proven through psychological profiling. Right. That type, the sadistic or sociopathic pedophile, they want to be in politics, or they want to be coaches, or they want to be in control of people. That's what it's about. It's not about public service. They want to be a priest. There's very, very, very sick people.
Right.
So anyway,
now
let me get through this little timeline of.
Oh, wait! I'm gonna do. Let me do one more thing, because I tweeted out one more video, and then I'll shut up. It's a 2-for-1 sociopath. Anthony Weiner actually went on Lawrence O'Donnell's show. Have you ever seen this?
Yes. I was gonna. You stole my thunder, but go ahead.
Oh man! All right, then you go. I tweeted it out. You let it rip. That's fine.
Okay. So, because I thought you would find that funny that.
Buddy, but
that our buddy Larry O'Donnell, another paid, hack for the mainstream media is busting Wiener's ass on his show about, calling him a lobbyist. It's like, well, what are you, Larry? What
Right.
are you?
I mean, the quintessential pot calling the kettle black.
Oh my God, So
he brings.
I didn't know. I just had the text on that. I didn't know there was a video. So thank you. I'll be watching that after the show.
Yeah. For people people have to watch it. But I mean, in a nutshell, Lawrence O'Donnell. This is after the first sexting, where he was lying, and Anthony was lying.
When he got voted out of Congress, so then he becomes a lobbyist. And if you follow George Webb and Jason and Trisha's work for a long time, they created Wolf, Weiner and Associates, and they call that Mossad Worldwide. And so then they get into the consulting and medical records and biofuels and international law firms. So he's taken right back into the fold. He's just doing his dirty work in the private sector instead of on Capitol Hill. So
disgusting, utterly disgusting. But he goes. Lawrence O'Donnell brings him on a show. Anthony's sitting there. I mean, I don't know if he knew what was coming. And Lawrence O'Donnell, first question out of his mouth. Anthony, I just want to ask you this one thing. What the hell were you thinking? And then it just goes from there. So one sociopath to another, one sociopath to another.
Yeah, that's, it's such a joke. And the whole, we've been preaching about this, probably the whole time we've been on the air. But the whole thing, the left-right, bullshit paradigm that's our public, or our government, it's just a joke, and these guys, they eat their young, they don't give a damn about, Larry's caring about his ratings, and he's financed by the same people that's financing Wiener, and okay, let's just throw them to the wolves because they you can't hurt these guys, oh, he got kicked out of Congress. Oh, well, he's got a consulting firm. So, I mean, it's just such a joke.
Sure.
But the quote that I had, and I don't know if it's from that interview, but O'Donnell says that you went out to make money as a lobbyist. You did the classic hack thing, and you know it. and coming from a classic hack, Larry, he should know.
Oh,
and then Wiener said he stated he was not a lobbyist. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. It's mind bending.
Oh, wait. I actually misstated that was the Wolf Weiner Associates. Wasn't Mossad Worldwide. It wasn't until July 2015 when he was hired by the MWW Group, a PR firm, as a part-time consultant. That's what George Webb refers to as Mossad Worldwide. And
okay.
So it's just it's disgusting, the whole, and until we revolt. Here's one. Here's some Anthony Weiner trivia. What movie did he appear in, Howie, in 2015?
I have no idea.
So when all this crap's going on, he's kicked out of Congress. He's got, sexting scandals and pedophilia going on. He found time to appear in Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. Was
wow.
The title of that movie. He played the director of NASA.
I mean,
that's a true.
I'm in disbelief. I'm in utter disbelief.
And it wasn't even Sharknado 1. It was like 3. So the guy. And can you imagine the hubris and just the sick personality that would actually agree to that when all this shit's going on. Oh yeah, sure, I'll be in Sharknado 3. Oh, who am I playing? The director of NASA? Oh yeah, sure, sign me up.
Well, part of the the mentality, and it's just becoming so blatantly obvious, particularly with Hillary, is that when you are a sociopath, that you just can't not be out there. It doesn't even matter to them. Like the worst thing to them is just to become irrelevant. So it doesn't even matter that it's a joke. It doesn't even matter that you're being laughed at. It's better to be seen as a joke than not to be seen at all. When we were in Brooklyn yesterday, a lot of people kept saying, people in line were asking, people that were there demonstrating, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what am I doing here? What are you doing here? She's like,
are you
actually
going to buy this shitty book?
Well, yeah. Like, what are you doing here? And, Hillary could just go away. I mean, she doesn't need the money, obviously, after 130.
They don't go away. They don't, the person, they will never, you can't.
Never, right.
The guy, the guy I've been talking to you about, the guy we're dealing with now, the convicted child rapist, they won't go away. They will never go away until they're behind bars. And, I intend to send him there, and that's what I'm working on. So I'm a little preoccupied, but, that these people, and they're all the same personality traits, same exact, right. And they will never go away. They will never stop until they're behind bars. So that's what we have to do.
And even, even drawing a parallel, Anthony Weiner doing something as absurd as Sharknado 3 it's the same thing as Hillary writing a book. Well, first of all, I highly doubt that she wrote a word of that book of what happened. But the hubris to even write a book about losing an election, that's one thing. People showing up, and there's never been watching people standing in line for hours. It took people about 2-3 hours to get into this thing, and there's the barricades are up, and they're just put into this pen, like they go around the corner, and the term sheeple has never been more appropriate, that they're just following along, standing there, and it occurred to me that I think a lot of people didn't even know why they were there. Just to see.
I believe that
and believe me, we asked. I mean, I legitimately asked people, like, what are you doing here? And nobody would have very few people would actually, talk to you. I'll take off my mask and I'll walk up, and it's like, well, slow down. I'm a human being. I'm literally asking you. I don't want to talk to you. Don't talk to him. He's just going to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, seriously.
They're totally, and there's, and the only hope for the world is that, or this country, and I'm not sure it's hope for the world, but there are millions of people that will never vote for the Democratic Party again, as it stands. So that's a good thing.
Sure.
And there are millions of people that are Republicans that, if shit doesn't change, they're not going to be voting for Trump again, and they're becoming, and I'm telling you what, he's on the clock with all this shit, and how on earth, the stuff in that laptop can still be sitting somewhere and people not going to jail, he's going to have to answer those questions, so, they're all, it's coming, this big charade is coming to an end, and hopefully, that's because, and it is because a lot of people are waking up, and it's hard to see, perspective is a hard thing to see, and especially the way our news is controlled. So we don't see it. and how our social media is controlled. I mean, they're trying their best to shut all this down and think people that are isolated. And while we're talking about people being isolated, let's talk about for a few a way to overcome that. And the best way that I've heard is the march and the rally that is being planned for April 28th, 2018 in Washington, D.C. For survivors of child rape. And talk about that for a little bit, Howie.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is. There are certain things, we talk about, we need evidence, and we have stories of arrests and convictions, posted to, now the hashtag Pedogate News. We have stories of survivors. We don't call them victims. We call them survivors of child sex abuse and trafficking. And I think the survivor stories are the most powerful evidence that we have that this is real. People try to discredit the community all the time. And if one person like a Becky or a V or a Missy come out, it's very easy to dismiss them. So what we want to do is have dozens of survivors come up and speak and tell their story. And that's basically what the rally is going to be all about. The planning is in its infancy right now. We know we want to have it in Washington, D.C. We're not positive where we're going to have it. I would love to see 100,000 people there. Based on our history
or more.
Yeah. Based on our history of people showing up, that's obviously a little pie in the sky right now. But but we are.
That's what we're going to be doing between now and then. Us and a lot of other people are bringing, and we're getting a great network going. Whether it's on Facebook, we've got a crowdsource page. We've got between the two Twitter, probably 1,500 people that are following this and involved in it, and the V and Missy, who is just blows me away. All of them. All right. of the that we've had on are just so capable. They're so just I just can't even describe. And the only thing I can come close to is that they're like angels that are here, on earth, because it's supernatural, the abilities that they have. Not saying that they're, not saying that their day-to-day life is by any means easy. It's a struggle for them every day, but they're so capable and so strong and so smart. And there's not enough adjectives to use to describe these people. And it just seems like this is growing and growing and growing. And, but that's what we're going to be doing. And if we got 10% of the survivors in this country to show up in Washington, D.C., that would be millions of people.
Millions.
Because there's millions out there.
That is a sad thing to say. I think one of the main things is that we want to create an atmosphere, a comfortable atmosphere. I would never judge somebody for not wanting to speak up and to tell their story, but it's so important. And, hopefully we can encourage and we can support people, to talk about, something that is so horrific, no matter what it was. And, if we can get these stories out there and the attention that it can bring, and for the media to hopefully bring this to the forefront and not ignore this, like I said, there was a CNN article back in 2001 talking about the epidemic of child sex abuse in America. between 300,000 and 400,000 children each year are being sexually abused in one form or another. This is 2001. I'll tweet that article out again to the Traffic report.
It's happening, and just with our little corner of the world and this show. I mean, people are coming forward. You know, Becky started that. You know, then V came forward, Missy came forward. There's another survivor that I think is going to be on here soon, and there's been 2 or 3 other ones that have come into the Twitter line that have published their stories, and we retweet their stories, and on Facebook. I mean, a community is forming, and that's kind of, you know.
And anybody that wants to come on the show and tell their story, it is an absolute open forum.
There, you know, that's all they have to do. Just ask, and we will make the time. And we're going to have Becky and V and Missy back on here, you know, because they're just so they're opening this up to show others it's okay to tell your story, you know, and so we're going to continue to, you know, make every effort we can to have these people on as much as we can, because that's the healing, the therapeutic value of a survivor helping another survivor. I don't think can be met, you know. So very hopeful. I get chills when I start talking about those wonderful women. So
absolutely, and you know we are praying that, you know, people are, you know, it's not everybody can make it to Washington D.C., but you know, April 28th, it's a long way off, and you know, just, you know, with a proper planning, you know, I take buses everywhere. It cost me, you know, yesterday I got back and forth to New York and $15 bus out of Chinatown. You know, there are ways. There are ways, and this is you know, uber important. You know, tweeting is great, being on Facebook is great, talking about it is great, but man, please, we have to start showing up. You know, the left is showing up, you know, from whether it's a science march or you know, whatever their cause of the day is.
Global warming, you know, that was hundreds of thousands of people, you know, while children are being raped, murdered, you know, satanically abused, you know, but we're going to get the word out. And I truly believe the survivors are going to be what turns this, you know, from people just talking about it on social media to getting so inspired that they're going to get up off their ass and rock this world, and that's what has to happen, and they're going to do it, because that's what I mean. That there's this quality that they have that I really, there's really not a good word to describe it, you know, other than supernatural. That's as close as I can come, and that's really inadequate. But the power that these women have, and I know there's men out there, you know, and there's a couple of
absolutely
that are survivors of this that Trish Negron is working with, and VC Bester. The guy was on with Reagan when he was shot, you know, who was a victim of and now a survivor of the DC pedophile network. So there's women, men, and anybody listen to this show, and please share it, you know, talk about it, you know, get it out there. This is a forum right here where they can come in, tell they don't have to identify themselves. They can do it, you know, anonymously, whatever way they're comfortable with. But we're going to stand behind them, you know, 1,000%, and that is what's going to motivate people. You know, we talk, we present information, and, you know, we do what we do, but the power of the words and just that quality that these people have, I think is what's really going to bring an end to this.
Sure.
I think.
You know, as we're talking about this, you know, survivor stories, you know, we know about Kathy O'Brien. she's a very well-known, for, the ritualistic abuse of the elite. Fiona Barnett, if people are not familiar, from Australia. There are two 60 Minutes episodes, 60 Minutes UK. I'm sorry, 60 Minutes Australia.
Yeah, Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one's from the 90s. I do not know the girl's name, and it is just utterly. I mean, her story is horrific. It is just heartbreaking. And these things they're just sitting out there, for people to say, oh, you're crazy, this and that and blah blah blah. I mean, these stories, you cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. But if they want to say you're crazy and you're crazy and you're crazy, and pick people off one at a time, I guess that can be done. But when we start consolidating this and bringing survivor after survivor after survivor up on a stage, are people going to stand there and say you're all lying? Well,
Yeah,
you better not say it to my face.
Yeah, talk about a sleeping, tiger or lion. I mean, that community, and there are definitely millions of them, that wake up and figure out that this shit is just going to stop once and for all. And I'm telling you, the buildings will collapse in D.C. under the moral weight of what these people have to say. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm totally excited. I'm going to be there regardless if they have to bring me in a wheelchair, ambulance, whatever. They'll hook up, some of my old fire department buddies and get an old rig.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
Me over there, whatever. But
and I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Neil Wolf of
Neil.
Yeah. He's a little busy right now. He's got some things going on in his personal life. He's doing very well. But as far as he put together the March 25th rally in Washington D.C. the Our Children Matter march or rally in now I'm going to forget the park, but oh well, it was across from the White House. But a couple weeks after that, he
not
went
the
up
one
to,
we got thrown out of, but right, another part.
Right. Yeah. That was Spirit of Justice Park. Yeah, we got thrown out. But Neil went up to New York City, stood outside New York City police headquarters, and demanded what was on the Anthony Weiner laptop. Only about, unfortunately, 10 people showed up. But I mean, this is the kind of commitment of he drove from Washington D.C. to New York City, stood out there by himself, set up everything with his 3 dogs. Neil knows I love him. He's a bit of a nut, but he knows I love him. And I'm now looking back in retrospect, I wish I was there. But demanding what is on, because I guess we're running out of time. But there's an Anthony Weiner laptop that and information was shared apparently from.
Yeah, let's just finish up with that.
Sure.
Back. So we've got this. And it's right here in the documentation. So he continues this behavior, and this guy. These adult women were not all he was messing with. They're some of this. He sent a picture while lying in bed with his young son to one of these women. So that tells me that this guy is a pedophile. That there are no boundaries for the guy. Okay, and I would bet there are other underage minor victims of this guy, and
absolutely,
hopefully they will come forward. So it got down to he got busted, and it was a 15-year-old girl, and the damn newspapers, they want to call this a sexting scandal, like it's some joke. You don't sex with a 15-year-old girl, that's rape, that's child rape, and we're gonna have Lori Handrahan on here. She just released a new book on Amazon about child rape, and she is getting us to call it what it is. But the charge, wasn't sexting. Okay, it was transferring obscene material to a minor, but which equivocates with sexual battery, child rape, whatever you want to call it. But we need to start calling this what it is. And so then we've got this whole culture of corruption that he's involved in. His wife and the Clintons and he knew it. He knew if they might throw him to the wolves. So he started getting all this information, and all the information that the Avon brothers were getting out of Congress was coming to those BlackBerries and that laptop. All the blackmail material, all the stuff that they weren't supposed to have, and he has a folder on that laptop that says life insurance, and in there, and we've heard about all the NYPD guys. When are they going to just step forward and say this is what was in that computer? Okay, we know it was about pedophilia. We know it was. That they've leaked enough for us to know that. So when do they actually step forward all the way and say, this is what we saw, and force the Justice Department to arrest these people that were involved in it? And who is it? Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, maybe his attorney, Dershowitz, the guy who got the Klaus von Bülow off, a murderer, and these people are a scourge on the face of the earth, and then we go right into it. So now the election's going on, and Comey, another crooked son of a bitch, just pulls this, flip-flop bullshit, because he had to, and he reopens the investigation and then closes it, and the good thing, I think that really it turned the worm on Hillary, because I think she would have won, without that stuff coming out. So that one good thing. Usually something good comes out of even really, really dark shit, and if that's all it is, but it's not enough, And this guy has been given a plea deal that's contingent on his testimony. So where are the people that he gave testimony against to get that plea deal? What's the status, Justice Department? We want to know.
Right, and everything you say. I mean, once again, it's a matter of putting pressure on whatever. We have. Once I keep saying it, we have all this information, and it's just out there. Whether it's Matt Couch with Seth Rich, whether it's Anthony Weiner's laptop, we need to start picking up the phone. We need to start showing up. We need to start doing things in real life that even if they're not going to release it, let them know we are not going away. So please, it's not that difficult to pick up the phone.
Keep the pressure on. I think we're going to hear more about what he ratted about. I think that will come out eventually, but if nobody asks, he'll be going bye-bye for 21 months to it looks like a club fed, institution, but at least he'll be behind bars. He'll be required to register as a sex offender. The music got us. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody listening. Thanks, Howie. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone.